Elizabeth, so the good news is that we do know that one crew member, as you mentioned, has been rescued. This is a two-person fighter jet, these F-15Es, and so that other crew member still remains missing. And look, I mean, it's been about 12 hours since Iran released images of the wreckage of this F-15 Eagle, and so time right now is really of the essence. We know that this would be the first time that Iran has successfully shot down a fighter jet since this war begun. And look, I mean, that's consequential in a number of ways. First, I mean, you think about the stated objectives for this war by President Trump. He mentioned that he wanted to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, also demolish the Navy, and then eliminate ballistic missiles. And going into this conflict, there was certainly a lot of talk about confidence from the Americans. We heard from Secretary Hegseth that at the start of this conflict that Iran leaders were going to be looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute, every day until we decide it's over and Iran won't be able to do anything about it. Well, it is clear, Elizabeth, that they have been able to do something about it. It's clear that despite the president's words that they had no longer any surface-to-air, anti-air defense capabilities this past Wednesday, that they still have some capabilities there in order to bring down this F-15. And right now, the time is really of the essence as we look for that second crew member.
Right, and let's bring in our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang. Selena, we understand the president has been briefed on this search and rescue operation.
We're still waiting to hear from the president officially, but we have learned from the White House that the president has been briefed. And look, this really puts President Trump in a difficult situation, raising questions about a discrepancy between the rhetoric that's coming out of this administration and the reality on the ground. Because for the past several weeks, this administration has been touting this utter military success that has decimated the Iranian regime as well as its military. Just days ago, during President Trump's first primetime address to the American people, President Trump said that Iran has no anti-aircraft equipment, no Navy, and that its Air Force is in ruins. But what we are seeing is that despite the heavy U.S. bombing and assaults, Iran is still able to maneuver and inflict real pain and damage. And when it comes to the toll so far of this war on American lives, so far 13 U.S. service members have been killed. At least 340 U.S. service members have been wounded so far. President Trump, meanwhile, still has not laid out to the American people a clear exit plan or strategy for how this war is going to end. At the same time, the president says that there's going to be heavy bombing for the next 2 to 3 weeks. He also says that this war is going to end soon.
Selena, thank you. Let's go to our foreign correspondent, Britt Clement, in Jerusalem for us. Britt, we are seeing those images, unverified by ABC News, released by Iranian state media. What else do we know, Britt?
Yeah, look, we also heard from Iran's parliamentary speaker on social media, really ridiculing the U.S., saying that after defeating Iran 37 times in a row, this brilliant no-strategy war they started has now been downgraded from regime change to, hey, can anyone find our pilots, please? Wow, what incredible progress. Absolute geniuses. So clearly a lot of ridicule there from the Iranians. Look, I think one of the big questions is, has their air defense capabilities improved? We did hear, as Selena was saying, from President Trump on Wednesday. He said that their radar systems have been taken out, that, their air defense capabilities were down to zero, 100% wiped out. Well, that raises questions about if any of that is true. Iran knows already this is not a popular war. So it is playing into the hands of the Iranians too, that even America's NATO allies are growing increasingly frustrated with the mixed messaging on this, the lack of clarity on what the war goals are, the apparent failure to war game the outcome, such as preparing the closure of the Hormuz Strait, demining that area too. This is an important waterway and it's having economic impacts across the world. As Selena was saying, they are still able to fire on a daily basis at multiple targets, including cluster bombs here inside Israel, hitting targets in the Gulf nations too, including a Kuwait oil refinery, a desalinization plant. Those are key, important bits of infrastructure to the Gulf nations, and it's going to add to the frustration there. Iran continued to fire dozens of missiles and drones today alone in the UAE. Air defense engaged 47 drones, 22 missiles, including 18 ballistic missiles launched from Iran. That's according to the Ministry of Defense there. Now, Trump can use this hyperbolic language to describe how the U.S. and Israel are degrading Iran's military stockpiling, but certainly questions are being raised now, especially with this very serious incident that's taken place. We also heard from the spokesperson of Iran's military command earlier saying, don't count our missiles and drones. You know nothing about our vast and strategic capabilities. So again, despite these attacks that we've seen on a bridge, on infrastructure, and warnings to hit the electric power plants too, including as well, that bridge connecting Karaj with Tehran, it is clear that they're still able to fire and that their capabilities haven't been wiped out, as the president has been saying.
One to continue to watch that. I know you will. Britt Clement there in Jerusalem. Also joining us now, contributor and former Marine Corps fighter pilot, Colonel Steve Ganyard. So, Colonel Ganyard, we understand now one crew member has been rescued, according to a U.S. official. What does it say to you that this one crew member has been rescued? The status of the other crew member still unknown at this time.
Yeah, Elizabeth, it's good news, bad news. The good news is that we've got one of them. The bad news is we don't have both of them. And so you can bet that every possible asset that the CENTCOM commander has is now focused on finding that second crew member. So night is coming. It's getting dark in a way that's good for an evasion opportunity for another person. So we'll see if the U.S. can find and rescue that second one. But I do think we need some perspective here. There've been over 11,000 sorties flown in this war. And frankly, it's surprising that this is the first aircraft we've lost. Yes, it's bad. Yes, we need to find the other crew member. But this has gone remarkably well from an air power perspective. Never in the history of aviation, of air power, of warfare has a country like Iran, which was fairly sophisticated, been so overcome by aircraft and the ability of the U.S. and Israeli air forces to dominate the skies. So out of 11,000, we lose one aircraft. That's pretty remarkable. We'll see how it affects the war going forward. I think that's the real political question here. How does President Trump react to all this?
Yeah, we're waiting for any reaction from the president. Steve Ganyard, always appreciate your analysis. Thank you. Let's also now bring in retired Lieutenant General and former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Doug Lute. Great to have you here. Talk to us a little bit in the big picture here about what kind of an escalation this is. What does this mean in the context of this broader war?
Well, I think this is a reminder to all of us that while this campaign, as Steve Ganyard just described, has been enormously successful and has made huge strides in degrading Iranian capability, to include its air defense capabilities, no such campaign is perfect. War defies perfection. So we have knocked down Iran, but it's also clear that Iran is not out. And as you previously reported, not only have they now struck with an air defense system, but they're continuing strikes with drones and ballistic missiles across the region, both on civilian targets and on military targets. So Iran is down but not out.
Lieutenant General Doug Lute, going to continue following this. Thank you so much for all of everyone joining us on this breaking news. A lot more questions ahead here. We are going to have more when we come up on the historic Artemis mission and that mission to the moon, a maneuver that we have never seen before as they go into deep space. Plus, a major legal blow for Blake Lively, why a judge tossed a key part of her case against the It Ends With Us co-star. Both those stories coming up next.
Now you can listen to a podcast version of 2020, available free wherever you listen. David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.
Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up! Show me your hands!
Somebody got shot. His mom got shot. Right here, right here!